Ooh, this is lovely.
Ooh,
Charming.
just the ticket for a nice hot cup of tea for you.
Just the spot to meet just about everybody and anybody.
I used to come here a lot until, well, you know, maybe somewhere else would be more relaxing.
Welcome to the perfect kappa. Please, you look road weary.
My friend here doesn't have a sock on one foot.
Will you serve him anyway?
Please have a seat. Our menu, sir. Some of our highlights, sir. We have herb teas, iced teas, green teas, specialty blends, twisted teas.
How about a nice orange pico?
Orange Pico? Orange Pico? What you need is a nice herb tea to restore and refresh you.
We have mint, chamomile, doubleberry, lemon,
Orange pico?
plus a wide assortment of honeys, white sugars, brown sugar, or demerara.
Orange pico?
But you've come so far, sir. Surely you would be refreshed by a honey tea with a touch of Baileys.
Orange pico, please.
Of course, green teas are known to be very refreshing, sir. Give you that lift without a caffeine fixation. Of course, we don't have to worry about caffeine addiction here, though, do we, sir?
Orange pico, with or without the caffeine.
Orange Pico. We have Earl Grey, Twinings, Red Rose.
Twinnings.
Twinnings.
Twinings.
I'm pretty sure it's Twinnings.
What about the red rose?
Of course, everybody knows it's the only real tea.
Would you rather it were Earl Grey?
House's choice, with a bit of milk only, if you don't mind.
We have whole milk, cultured cream, frosted milk, steamed milk.
Whole milk, orange pico. Put the milk in first.
Of course the milk goes in first, sir. We're not from that other place.
Orange pico.
I'll see what I can do.
Well, how do you like that? I'm not sure if this is tea heaven or a peculiar form of hell they hadn't warned us about in Sunday school.
Gotta watch that.
Who are you?
Someone concerned for your well-being. Getting too particular like that, you can end up like Aunt Mabel.
Aunt Mabel?
Used to come here a lot. They almost named the cafe after her.
What happened to Aunt Mabel?
If you really want to hear this, she's legendary in the afterlife. I suppose it's really the story about her hat. When she was alive, Aunt Mabel had one hat. It was old, but she kept it in excellent condition. She wore it on special occasions, to church and when she went visiting. Whenever she wore it, she held it in place at a precise angle with a hat pin. When Aunt Mabel came to visit, her family would take her hat and carefully place it on a special shelf by the door. From there, they would usher her into the living room. She would smooth her skirt under her and perch on the sofa. They would offer her a cup of tea and a biscuit. Of course, the tea was served in a special china cup. Her family and friends were always careful to make sure the tea was Earl Grey, which everyone knows is the only real tea. They always kept some on hand just for her visits. They also kept a small container of whole milk in the refrigerator, especially for these occasions. As she had shown them, the milk went in the cup first. Only this much, followed by the tea, and 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. That in hand, she would accept 1 biscuit and eat it over the napkin in her lap. Aunt Mabel's visits lasted precisely 30 minutes. Then she'd be on her way. When Aunt Mabel died, the church was filled with relatives coming to pay their last respects. By about a week after the funeral, everyone was back to their daily business. Aunt Mabel, on the other hand, had a longer journey ahead of her. Aunt Mabel was greeted to the afterlife right here in this very cafe, where they took her hat and hung it on that hat rack right over there. She was welcomed to a special booth in the back, where all the plastic was still on the furniture. Mabel found a nice place to sit, and the proprietor brought her a cup of tea. Mabel smiled at this. She was feeling right at home. As he handed her the tea, he apologized that it wasn't Earl Grey. He dropped in some 2% milk and 1 heaping teaspoon of sugar. She drank up, but to tell you the truth, I don't think she really enjoyed it. The two of them made a little conversation here and there about this and that. Of course, she carefully steered clear of any controversial subjects like religion. When offered another cup, she said,
One more would be just fine. If you could just put in whole milk first, and maybe just an incy bit more sugar, say 1.5 teaspoons?
Fresh out of homogenized, I'm afraid.
so he mixed in some skim. But he did offer to make up for that with 2 heaping teaspoons of sugar. Aunt Mabel politely drank up. After about half an hour of pleasant conversation, he offered her more tea. Mabel hesitated, but he brought her another cup of tea anyway. While she sipped, she started looking around, saying that surely she had overstayed her welcome and it must be time for her to go. The proprietor noticed the half-finished cup of tea sitting in Mabel's lap.
Oh my, your tea is quite cold by now. Let me pour you a fresh one.
Out of the teapot came some over-blackened tea. Mabel accepted it without milk or sugar. She kept up her end of the conversation, but in between her times to speak, her eyes darted around the room. Then her eyes fixed on the entranceway for the longest time. Partway through her end of the conversation, she stopped dead. She pointed a finger vaguely towards the entry.
Wasn't the door...
Door? If you're looking for the washroom, you won't need one.
No, the door. It was right there.
That's when she started to really look around. It's that look you see on people in one place and one place only. It's a lot warmer there than it is here, and it's not the perfect cup of tea they brew. No one's seen her since. You can see her hat rack right over there.
And Mabel, wherever did you get that hat?
You gotta watch that tea thing.
Your tea, sir.
Ah!
Giving Michael Steele, our main dead guy, a hard time were Laura Carlsen, the head Slegna, and the concerned citizen. Corinne Friesen, the narrator, the Doubtful Salmon, and a few Slegnas. Laura, Michael, and Corinne brought you the cows. Ian Carlsen was the tea proprietor and that strange fellow offering tea to Aunt Mabel. Next episode, we'll escape to Central Station. Is the tea behind door number 1?